You have this child, Yusuf alayhi salam, just a kid, tells his dad a dream. He just saw a dream. And his dad tells him not to tell his brothers, and encourages him and reminds him of Allah. What we learn as a hint from the Quran is, from an early age, his father actually gave him some good lessons in life. How to remember Allah. How to keep conscious of Allah in your life as a child. And clearly his family is not a good family situation. His brothers are no good. We learned that early on. So it's not like he's in a very healthy family environment. And soon after that, he's kidnapped. He's taken away. He's now a servant in a non-believing society, which means there's no believing influence left. Later on in his life, he's in jail. Obviously, jail's not a good environment. So most of his early life, he spent in a bad environment. Most of his early life was in a terrible environment. Yet that did not control his guidance. That did not dictate what kind of person he's going to be. But good influence, good reminder from his father had an effect. Our job is to remind each other lovingly. Our job is not to control. Our job is not to get anxious and frustrated with those that we love when they don't behave the way we want them to behave. This is actually not the way of the Prophets ﷺ. I'll add one more thing, and that's important. When people find, sometimes, many of us are, because we're in the information age, we discover things about our deen later on in life. Some of us were brought up Muslim, in Muslim families, and we didn't really know why we're Muslim except that our parents were Muslim. Right? So we just kind of took it for granted that we're Muslim. And when you move to a different part of the world, or you're in a city or somewhere else, and you are now exposed to a life that doesn't really go with Islam. You don't really know why you're Muslim to begin with, why your family practices or believes these things to begin with. Islam just gets reduced to just a few rituals, just some things that we do. Maybe prayer, maybe some Muslims just Fridays, or at least we go for the Eid prayer. That's what it gets reduced to. Or at least I think Ramadan's coming, so yeah, there's a diet season coming. So Ramadan or Islam gets reduced and reduced and reduced. But for some people later on in their life, they discover Islam again. They rediscover their faith. They realize, whoa, this is serious. This is Allah talking to me. They rediscover Allah's book. They rediscover Allah's messenger, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they become more serious about their religion. They change. They experience a transformation. Then when they change, obviously everybody around them notices that they've changed, right? They don't dress the same way anymore. They don't talk the same way anymore. They don't hang out the same places anymore. Their socializing has changed. Everything changes. Everything around you changes. But what happens, unfortunately, with people that change like that, especially parents who change like that, they're so eager and so excited to want their children to change immediately too. Because I made so many mistakes when I was younger, I never want my children to make those mistakes. I don't want my 18-year-old or 20-year-old to make the same mistakes. So they start getting so excited to give their children what they now found. But the way they do that can be so overbearing. The way they do that can be so overexcited. They don't even realize they're doing more damage than good. They're trying to be musaytir. They're trying to be in control. They're not doing it for bad intention. They're doing it out of love. But we have to remind ourselves, when you do that, when you try to enforce something, nag something, when you try to overdo something, instead of bringing somebody closer to Allah's deen, you're actually pushing them further away. So you find conversations between parents and kids where the mom says the same, she brings up deen in some way, she brings up prayer, she brings up hijab, she brings up whatever, and the son says or the daughter says, oh, I gotta go. I'll go talk to you later, mom. Because now, every time you bring up the deen, you bring up religion, it's an allergic reaction. And you created that, not them. And then you say, maybe I'll send Ustad Noman videos, that's going to help. And you know what? Those videos, I'm now in their spam folder. And I'm blocked on social media because looking at my face gives those kids an allergic reaction. Like, oh, here we go. This guy reminds me of all the times my mother yells at me. Or other people like me. Oh, you know what he said? You know what this one said? You know what? You should watch this video. You should do this. No. Stop. Easy. Take a step back. The first thing is actually love itself. When you show someone love, when you show someone care, we're so eager to make someone listen to what we have to say. How often is it that we're listening to what they have to say? When someone's struggling, how often are we listening to them? This is actually a big difference between us and other faith communities. I'll tell you a story before I conclude about how do you bring people's hearts closer to yourself. Some time ago, I actually attended a church gathering. Just want to see what these guys do. So it's like a Wednesday night, and the preacher speaks for like 5 minutes. He says whatever he says. And then the most interesting thing happens. He asks the crowd, so who's having a problem? Tell me about it. Some guy, I just lost my job. It's been tough. All right, everybody pray for Jeff. Everybody starts praying for Jeff. And somebody, I just got divorced. She took the house. You know, everybody pray for, and then this woman, I just got diagnosed with cancer. And everybody's praying for her. And then this guy in the corner says, he lost a job? Talk to me afterwards. There's an opening in my company. And they start, you know, because what brings them closer together was not that this guy is going to speak for hours and hours and they're going to sit there and listen. Actually, they were drawn to this gathering because they have a place where they can be heard, where they can feel supported. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was an amazing listener. We think of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam as an amazing speaker. Yes, he was. But he's also an incredible listener. A lot of times, the people whose hearts you want to affect, you and I start thinking, if we just talk to them, they'll change. Let me tell you, more than talking to people, we have to learn to listen to people. We have to learn to listen to people. And when you listen to people, you don't listen to just answer them and argue back, or before you even finish hearing what they have to say, you already have 10 answers for them. No. Just listen. Don't listen with a pre-programmed, I'm going to answer them real good. You know, there are some people that are listening to a question halfway through. Let me tell you what. No. Just listen. Just listen. This is not a debate. It's not a contest. You're not going to crush them with evidence. This is not going to be some sort of a competition where you're going to answer them real good and everybody's going to go, Takbir! No, none of that. None of that. Your job is just to be a good listener first. Let people say what they have to say. Let your family members air out what they feel. And you have to first, if you can't empathize, one of the qualities of the Prophet ﷺ, بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَؤُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. The Prophet ﷺ is ra'uf, which means extremely empathetic. Meaning he goes out of his way to try to understand what others are feeling. What others are feeling. So many times you find narrations of the Prophet ﷺ, people came to him and said, I need this, I need this, I need this. You don't find the Prophet ﷺ going directly to them and saying, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. They're coming to him and telling him their problem. This is the level of comfort that they have with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And today, anybody who even looks religious or represents the religion, people don't want to come to them, they want to run away from them. Oh, if I just go anywhere close, the lecture is going to start. I don't want to do that. So this, internalizing that you and I are not in control. Our job is to give gentle reminder. And we cannot do so if we don't become good, empathetic listeners. If we don't empathize with the feelings that you don't have to agree with somebody else's feelings, but everybody's entitled to their feelings. Everybody has feelings that they have to work through. And we have to be able to do that. We have to be, especially for those that we love. May Allah Azza wa Jal soften our hearts towards those that we love and make us better able to listen to them. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us wise in the way that we give reminder. And may Allah Azza wa Jal make us humble that even when we give advice, that doesn't mean that we know everything. But we should actually always remain humble that we are students ourselves. We're learning ourselves. And so that He make us careful about the advice that we give, that it's actually based on sound knowledge. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Hakim wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikr al-Hakim.